what's up guys? My name is Zack, and today I am driving a 1997 Hyundai Tiburon. Up front is a 1.8 liter inline 4, and down below is a 5-speed manual transmission. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Hyundai Tiburon because this is one of Hyundai's first sporty vehicles. It wasn't the first, but one of the first here in 1997. Hyundai was still a relatively new brand in the United States, only having been for just a touch over a decade. And so this is an interesting look of kind of where we got the Genesis Coupe and later the Genesis brand. This is kind of the start of that. Not to mention that this is also a base model, which has some interesting quirks on its own. So I think this will be a fun video. But if you would like to submit your own vehicle, you can head on over to my website, zackpradel.com/submit. It's a quick and easy submission form. It takes under a minute to fill out, and I come out to you. But let's get back to that 1.8 liter inline 4 under the hood. Well, it's actually only for 1997. This was the base engine offered, but there was an optional 2 liter that you could get on pretty much any other trim level. And in 1998, they made that the standard engine. So the 1.8 was very short-lived in this generation, and I actually really like it. It makes good torque down low, which I wasn't quite expecting out of a little 4-banger. And that's really important to how the Tiburon feels because it's still fun at low speeds around town. You still feel like you're driving something sporty even when you're not driving at sport car speeds. And I think that was one of the shining moments of the Tiburon. Well, like I said, paired to it is a 5-speed manual. It's shifting really well. It has a nice click into gear. It's very direct. It's very prideful. And I've enjoyed my time with it. Last but not least, of course, the Hyundai Tiburon is front-wheel drive. So how does it feel to drive the Hyundai Tiburon? Well, visibility isn't fantastic, and that's a little surprising coming from a 90s car. However, it's not terrible either in terms of a sport coupe. I think it's on brand with its competitors. Steering is a little heavy, but it's very direct and very confident. And like I said, that low-end torque of the 4-cylinder is actually really surprising and something I did not expect, but I'm happy to see. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 gauges. Off to the left is my tachometer, in the center is my speedometer, and off to the right is my fuel and coolant temperature. All of these gauges are oval, which is kind of interesting to see. On the steering wheel, we just have the horn buttons, and that's it. Off to the left, we do have some dead switches and the gauge dimmer switch. And moving on to the door, we have a vent on the door, latch to get in and out, window lock, and our power windows. Moving into the center, we get 2 climate vents along with the hazard switch, which are kind of at an interesting angle. Then we get a digital clock, our climate controls, so temperature off to the left, where to send it in the center, fan speed off to the right, along with AC and recirculating. And we have our Hyundai standard radio with a cassette player from 1997. Absolutely love seeing that. Then we do get our pop-out cigarette lighter and ashtray, and the shifter. The shifter does look and feel very economy. I don't think there's any escaping that feeling. However, like I said, it works well. It feels nice, and that's all I really need from a vehicle like this. Then we do get some little cubbies and the handbrake. However, we don't get any center console, and so the Hyundai Tiburon from 1997 fails the big friggin' bottle test. Now we gotta talk about the seats. Now these seats are not original to this vehicle. These are from an early 2000s Tiburon. And of course they are leather, where this car would have gotten cloth from the factory. So take that as you will. For what it's worth, they are comfortable. But again, not original. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats. So let's go do a back seat review. Oh, all right. We're in the back of the Tiburon. Not great. Not great, ladies and gents. My head's hitting the ceiling, as you can visually see. There's no chance of me getting that seat back up and still retaining any kneecaps. So, not great. It has back seats, but also vehicles in this era, back seats, I mean, even still modern coupe sporty back seats, they don't mean anything. They're a wazzy, they're a woozy, they're a floozy. It doesn't matter. So, it is what it is. Let's take a look at the trunk and cargo space. All right, around the back of the Hyundai Tiburon, little key insert there to pop the rear hatch. I always forget that these are technically hatchbacks. But once we are back here, tons of wide open space. Again, a nice characteristic of 90s cars. The Supra, the RX-7, the Celicas, the Corvettes even had great trunk space. It was just a thing in the 90s. And so that is no different here in the Tiburon. Absolutely love seeing all of that. I don't get any crazy amenities. You can pull this up. We do get a spare tire and some tools, of course. But there is the trunk space of a 97 Tiburon. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and this is where the interesting base modelness starts to really shine through. First of all, these are Walmart hubcaps, but as you'll notice, almost every Tiburon got a wing. The base models didn't. It was an option, but this one didn't get it, and so there is no rear spoiler out at the back, which changes the looks quite a bit. It also is a very supple car. It's very sculpted, and we'll talk about things later on, but it's very reserved and very bubbly and so unapologetically 90s, so there it is. However, with all of this being said, let's get on to my final thoughts. What do I think driving this Hyundai Tiburon from 1997? Well, it's been a great experience. Really, truly, it was a lot more sporty and a lot more fun to drive around town than I ever thought it was going to be. I knew it would be at least somewhat fun. That was the goal of this car, and I don't think Hyundai missed the mark that bad. So let's talk about that. This isn't Hyundai's first sporty car. Their first sporty car was the S Coupe or Scoop, depending on who you ask. It was in the early 90s, really low production numbers, and I've never seen one in person ever. There's not many that exist, but if you have one, of course, I would love to review it. But Hyundai was still a new brand, and they were still trying to figure out their own identity. And so they were trying a lot of different things, and one of the types of vehicles they chose to try was a sport coupe. And so the Tiburon came out here in 1997 as Hyundai's second attempt. It was their second draft, and I think they got a lot of things right about this car. Later on, the Tiburons would be offered with a V6 and things like that. This 4-cylinder is fantastic, and if the 1.8 is good, I can't imagine how good the 2.0 must be. It is fun to drive. They nailed that, which is pretty important for this segment of car. I think it does suffer from some quality issues, but I don't think any 90s car was able to escape any of that. There's a lot of plastics in here, there's some rattles in here when you drive it, but it also has over 200,000 miles, so I can't really knock it for that. I think the biggest issue with these was Hyundai's brand recognition at the time. Modern Hyundai is killing it, and everyone knows that. They're making some really interesting, really fantastic modern day products that suit the modern market. But back in the 90s, they were still kind of unknown, and just South Korean cars in general somewhat had a schmear to them. I think this car would have stolen a lot of Cavalier Z24 buyers or Ford Escort buyers had it been marketed better or had it been better known. And so that's the big downfall of the Tiburon. Not many people knew about them, or even today, not many people know about them. And I think that is a right old shame. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to CJ for letting me take out his Hyundai Tiburon. I was so excited to feature one of these vehicles on the channel. I've been looking for one for a very long time, and CJ was able to get me one. He's been wonderful to work with. We have so many cars scheduled here today to film. You're gonna see some great eye candy out on the channel soon, and that is all thank you to CJ. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.